Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with head coach Scott Langer, as usual. Coach, we'll start with the weekend. Wings, of course, fall Friday night 5-4 after being up 4-2 at the second intermission. And as you said Saturday, it wasn't a bad game, just some bad moments, really. And it came down to special teams, it seems like, huh?
Yeah, oh, it definitely did. I mean, we took some real bad penalties, and we put a very good power play unit on the ice for them, and they were clicking. You know, they made some real nice plays and obviously capitalized on the opportunity. Frustrating from the coach's side, just, you know, giving up multiple 2-goal leads, and we worked hard to earn those leads. You know, we haven't had a whole lot of games like those during the course of this year, so I'm hoping that it's a lesson learned.
Yeah. Well, a nice bounce-back game really Saturday night, and you scored just 23 seconds in, and it seemed to really kind of set the pace. Minot answered in the second. Strada comes back, makes it 2-1. And then Minot had another strong third period. They go up 3-2 with a minute left. Vernon heads to the bench. You've got the extra attacker out, and McCorney knocks one in to tie it. And then on to the overtime, where McCorney again found a way to put one in the back of the net. And it's kind of a kicking and scratching kind of end of that one, that the guys just found a way to win. And of course, you win and clinch the Central Division. Maybe a few breakdowns, but overall a pretty solid game on Saturday night, huh?
I think so. I mean, their first goal of the game is scored on a breakaway with a clear-cut hook, you know, that caused a turnover, and everybody in the building's seen it. So that was fortunate for them to make it 1-1. But, you know, Joe Strada with a nice play from Riley Murphy, you know, gets us back on top, heading to the locker room. And I thought from there on, I thought our game was good. I mean, the goal that barely hit the back of the net, you know, I mean, went off Murph's stick and was a tough one for Verney. But I think you got to look at the way we responded. I mean, yeah. we pulled the goalie there with 2 minutes to go, and I thought our guys were pretty tough with the 6-on-5 advantage and made some plays. And then obviously Picorni finds it where he's deadly, right in the tough part of the ice, and then again we take the opportunity after tying it up, and our guys responded in overtime, which I thought we possessed the puck for 90% of it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of end zone presence for sure. And we've talked about it before too, that down the stretch, defensively things like that become a key. But those sorts of opportunities to come back from a loss, or not from a loss, but from a deficit, and to be able to tie the game up and then move on to overtime and find a way to win it. Those things are going to build even more character and pay big dividends down the stretch and into the playoffs, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have to look at it from the positive side. I mean, I tell you what, after Friday's game, it was a pretty quiet bus. The next morning was pretty quiet breakfast. It was pretty quiet at lunch, as you know. And you're just hoping that the guys are just stewing inside after what had gotten away from us the night before, and that could be taxing as well, on the body. So, but our guys came out. I mean, we scored 20-something seconds into the game. We were ready. We were ready to go. And they like I said, if they have the ability to capitalize, they can. They have 3 lines that can score on that team as well. But I like our fight, especially being on the road in night 2, being able to take the 2 points.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as mentioned, Wings are number 1 in the number 1 team in the Central Division for the 2nd straight year. And the 4 playoff teams have been established in the Central, while seeding is yet up for grabs, of course, since Minot is 2nd with 68 points, Austin 3rd with 66, Bismarck 4th with 65. A lot of shuffling could still happen, but with 7 regular season games remaining, and we've talked before about how you can't turn it on and off, but 7 games is a little different than maybe a weekend or even 2 weeks. Is there a little bit of a change to the approach? Like, for example, do you want to maybe rest some guys and give some guys some minutes that maybe haven't seen so many, again, because you have this amount of time before the playoffs start?
Well, I think it's nice to have the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
Whether we do that or not, I don't think it's time to show our cards for that. But,
sure.
At the same time, you don't want to be playing, suspect hockey heading into the playoffs. You want to be playing good hockey. So I'm not sure you want to change too much heading down the stretch, because, like I said, you gotta be going.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is going to be going because they're all fighting for positioning in the standings. So I do think that some guys are going to get get a rest. At the same time, our approach is probably going to remain the same as we're out there to win the hockey games and to let these, all the teams that we're playing down the stretch are all good teams that we may see in the first round. So, yep. You want to have confidence in your locker room, not in theirs.
Right. Okay, well, with the win Saturday night, more records are being broke throughout this season. 40 is the most wins that this franchise has had. 83 ties the highest point total. But again, 7 games remain. So, kind of really the sky's the limit in a lot of senses there. Do team records mean a lot to you and your legacy, so to speak? Or is it kind of business as usual, show up, put the work in, and good things happen?
I think a little of both, and the reason I say that is I think it's very important when you have a culture like Aberdeen has established over the 9 years that they've been in operation. I think those records only make the culture stronger, and it raises the level for every team that comes in year after year to have to attain that. There's going to be guys that come in here next year that want a shot at that 40+ win mark. So I think it's important, but I think if you come to work every day, you do your job, and you have fun at what you're doing, I think some of that success kind of handles itself.
Sure. Speaking of records, Brad Belisle has surpassed Corey Ward as an all-time franchise points leader with 65 after 2 assists on the weekend. Brad's meant a lot to this team, from his skill to physicality to leadership and experience. He's really a special kind of player, isn't he?
Oh, he's special, all right. He's kind of like that unsung hero type guy where he just kind of gives it in so many areas, and he sacrifices everything for the betterment of the team. And you never hear him talk about his personal accolades or anything that he's accomplished. He's just, and if you ever get the chance to listen to him on the bench, I mean, it's 100% focused on winning hockey games. He's all about it, and it doesn't matter how we do it. It's just as long as we win, and it comes through hard work. Brad has had a very up and down junior career where he's always had to fight his way every single year since he's 16 years old, and he's battled and he's gone through a lot of adversity. And for him to be a 20-year-old age out and to have this success, that's what it's all about here. And it's really what the North American League is all about, is a guy like that's been around and being able to be 20 years old and to compete at a high level and do big things doing it. He's going to have a lot of fond memories after this year, and certainly I think our staff and our organization we're not going to, even though he's got the new record, I don't think we're going to forget what Brad brought to this organization.
Well, for sure. We'll get a chance to talk to Brad here coming up very shortly, too. But one of the things that's interesting that you touched on there, too, it's something that's always struck me with Brad is how humble he is. On the way he carries himself. It's funny because I've even heard some of the guys riding him a little bit about bragging about how many goals he scored and that he's got a D1 commit, and Brad just smiles and shakes his head like, that's so out of character. He would never do that. So it kind of cracks me up. You've got Minot again this weekend. This time it's here at the ODI Center. Minot's got a lot to play for. As we talked about, there's a lot of moving around, and they're playing hard for their spots, just like the other 3 teams are, or other 2 teams. But then that's a good hockey team. Some great opportunities for you guys for coming up to continue to improve and kind of refine parts of your game. What are you going to be looking for from your players?
Well, I think we just have to elevate to the rate that they're playing. I mean, they're playing with a ton of passion right now because there's a lot on the line for them to establish their spot in the standings. So that they're playing like it. You look the way they played this weekend. I thought they tried to take our heads off every chance they got, and they're playing good hockey, and they got a lot to prove. So, you know what? It's just another good test for us this weekend. Yeah. We want to play good teams. We want to play teams that are playing well, and I think Minot's that team.
Of course, a team that the Wings have faced in the first round the last 2 years in a row in the playoffs, so that rivalry continues to grow. I wanted to get your thoughts a little bit on the University of Wisconsin Stephen Point. They go to the Frozen Four after beating Coach Hill's St. Norbert. Wings alum TJ and Carter Rue, Colin Raver there, even Jordan Fader, who was here for a very short while, but nonetheless, it's pretty awesome to see these guys have that success, undefeated and rolling into the Frozen Four in the D3 division. great to see them continue on in their careers, huh?
Yeah, it's you talk about all those guys. Well, TJ was a Division I player, but all those other guys were right on the cuff and so close. And for them to go, to a Division III program that is just all about winning hockey games, and for them to be a huge piece. If you ever follow a lot of the write-ups they do on that team, you consistently see the Rue names in there and the Raver names in there. So they're working hard, and to think that they came from a program that did some big things there last year, and then they continue that success at Stevens Point. And that team went through a coaching change. Their coach ended up, recruiting our players, but then he moved on to Michigan Tech. So the assistant coach has done a great job, and it's just great to see those guys. Every time you talk to them, they're having fun and they're smiling and they're enjoying their college life, and that's what it's all about.
It really is. And again, we will certainly be cheering them on from a distance or whatever as they continue on their semifinal matchup on Friday, and then hopefully on to the championship round for, again, some Wings alum doing big things on the ice. What's your prediction on when the snow's going to melt? When's it going to be all gone?
May?
I was expecting July 4th.
September?
All right. Well, Coach, I won't keep you much longer here. I've got Brad Belisle coming on here shortly. Looking forward to talking with him. But again, great weekend. Congratulations on winning the Central Division. And I know, as you've said before, that's not the end goal. Getting in the playoffs isn't the end goal. Winning the division isn't the end goal. Winning the whole thing is. So I know you guys are staying focused and continuing to work. But again, congratulations and thanks for coming on the show. And best of luck against Minot.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll take a break here from our sponsor, and we'll be back with Brad Belisle coming up after this.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla. Warm it, kiss it. Don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly as we continue on. Jay Klein Connect here, and of course I'm joined by Brad Belisle. Brad from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, now with 31 goals, 34 assists, combined for 65 points, and you surpassed Corey Ward as the all-time points leader for the Aberdeen Wings in franchise history. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You still got 7 games to go in the regular season here too, so it's not like that scoring is ended there. But I wanted to talk with you. Obviously, well, there's a lot of things we're going to talk about. Some of them are even questions that I already asked Coach, but I wanted to get your perspective and so on. But what does a record like that mean to you?
First of all, I guess it's a cool accolade for yourself. It's something you accomplish, but you can't accomplish it with the guys in the room, the guys around you, the guys you're playing with every night. So, especially Langers too, Hilly, they put the confidence in me to let me play my game, do my thing, and so far it's been working out, and it's just through the support of these guys. So.
Yeah, well, and as always, typical humble nature there, but as Coach Langer just mentioned too, you've bounced around a little bit in your junior hockey career from early on, since you were 16 years old, and really had to work hard for that success. For this success, for it to come in your final year in juniors, that's got to feel pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
When you're putting that work in and you're going through the daily grind and you're not really seeing it, or maybe you're not getting the minutes you want or whatever it might be. Then to come in your final year and have a season like this where you're, as Coach Langer just said, setting the bar higher for those that are coming behind you, in the years to follow. That's got to be pretty special, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's special. Again, it's the group you surround yourself with. So this is the best group I've played with so far, and I've been so excited since we got here late August. So, it's cool. I wouldn't say it's a sigh of relief. It's just a momentum of hard work. It's been built up, and the support from these guys, again, it's awesome. So.
All right. Well, before we move on to the team itself and how you guys prepare in the next coming weeks, and then of course as the playoffs get loom closer and so on, you're headed to Bemidji State next year. Excited about that, no doubt. And of course, Coach Winter and the staff at to Bemidji State have had a handful of players come through from the Aberdeen Wings, and we've had a good relationship with them. What about Bemidji State excited you to where you decided that you wanted to go ahead and sign with them?
It was one of the first schools I visited, and I had a little family tradition there. My dad and my uncle played there.
Okay.
It's close to home. The tradition is unbelievable there. They have their motto is tradition never graduates. So I think that's something that stick with me even throughout all these years of junior. Knowing it's everything's going to be good, and you're going to succeed wherever you go as long as you surround yourself with the right people.
Right. Which isn't always the easiest thing to do. Talking about Bemidji State and moving on to the next chapter, so to speak. And again, season isn't over by any stretch of the imagination, but just kind of playing devil's advocate, or not devil's advocate so much, but just kind of looking ahead. Where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? Is there something that maybe once your college career is over, if you have aspirations of playing pro hockey, or maybe there's another career that you've kind of got your eyes on?
Yeah, hockey ends for everybody at some point. You just don't want to be the first one to end. So. I'm going to go to school for law, so I'm going to, I hope to graduate with my degree, obviously. It's a goal. And then, I hope hockey's not over in 4 years. I mean, there's opportunities everywhere, and, I don't plan for it to be over.
Right on. After that, go where it takes you, whether it's the game or the career or whatever. Family guy, looking forward to having kids and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Going to the beach.
Okay. Just a complete side note, and you mentioned it as you were sitting down, but last couple weeks ago here at the Odie, I was looking down after a whistle, and I saw you kind of chirping Ryan Fanti a little bit. Of course, he's from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada as well. And I don't know why, I can never just say Thunder Bay. I always have to say Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. But anyway, do you, and we've talked before, and it's been brought up, I know with Garofalo, and many people have talked about the relationship that you and your brother have in playing each other, and how unique that is. But what isn't so unique, and might surprise some people, is that there are a lot of guys that are on the ice at any given time that somebody on this team has played against. There's Michigan connections. There's guys that have played at different tournaments or whatever. And it always kind of surprises me because you don't think of it when you're watching the game. But oftentimes, if you look at a connection, or that there is somebody on there, maybe even multiple people that you actually know pretty well. Maybe not as well, obviously, as your brother, but do you know Ryan Fanti? I mean, is he a guy that you can, as you take a shot or whatever, and you go by and say something to him, and there's a little back and forth?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I skate with him in the summer, and he's a really good guy. He's a year younger than me, so he's kind of played on the teams just a year younger than me, just by age group. But no, he's played up with us, practiced with us, so I know him pretty well. He's a good guy, a good goalie. He's had some good success in this league, and he's a really good goaltender, so I hope the best for him. Yeah,
well, for sure. And it was just like I said, the relationship part of it is what kind of and I think fans sometimes maybe don't realize that, but on many occasions there's guys, that look from the same state, they've probably played each other at some point, or whatever.
It was funny because I kind of got the opportunity to score in the first shift there, so I kind of had to give it to him about that. It's a little bit more unique that he's a goalie. So.
Yeah, I suppose so. All right, well, moving on, I wanted to talk a little, and I talked with Coach Langer about this, but from a player's perspective. Now, I mean, obviously, you guys want to be playing your very best hockey as the playoffs start.
Yeah.
But you've got 7 games before that happens, and you've got the #1 spot locked up. Some might say that's kind of cruising into the playoffs, and whether it's in the NFL or in NHL, whatever, when you see it, you see different strategies. I mean, there are times that you see the Patriots or whatever. They're going to rest guys. They're going to sit their starters or whatever, and then they come out the first round of the playoffs and get beat because they're not sharp. Yeah. They're a little rusty or whatever. But as I was saying to Coach, we're not talking about one weekend here. We're talking 7 games. From a player's perspective, do you want to stay up and stay at that same level of minutes and keep things going the way they're going? Or are you kind of like, you know what, I wouldn't mind a night where I can sit and watch and maybe let my body recover a little bit. And then because you do have that much time to be able to kind of get things going again.
Yeah, there's certain situations, if something's hurting you or nagging you, it might be better in your interest to sit out, but I'm healthy, I'm 100%, and if I'm 100%, I want to go. I want to play just the same as I'm going to be playing. So that's the plan, and I don't plan on changing anything. I don't think anybody does in this room because it's worked for us to this point. So.
Right. Well, and I kind of figured, I knew that, you know, Coach Langer was what his response would be to that, because he's not going to, he doesn't want to change.
No,
you know,
no one wants to sit out.
Right,
So.
and the approach doesn't get changed much either, from whether it be practice or whatever. But, you know, especially after, and of course, you know, you being a first-year wing, last year, you know, the Wings go in as the #1 seed and play the #4, Minot, and got knocked out in the first round. The year prior to that, the Wings go in as a #4 and surprise the heck out of everybody, and they're playing hot hockey at the end of the season and knock off #1 Minot. So it's kind of back and forth, and it was funny because I was talking to some of the Minot people, you know, over the weekend, and they were saying, well, they were in this situation 2 years ago, and they did sit guys, and they kind of blamed that in a sense. The reason that we kind of got them back on their heels 2 years ago was because of that. So it's really kind of interesting of what, you know, like what works, what doesn't, you know, who knows what the right thing is to do, but you got to get guys healthy and you got to come out on top and staying motivated. That's the other thing, you know, like obviously, as I mentioned to Coach Langer just a moment ago, getting in the playoffs isn't the ultimate goal. Winning the division isn't the ultimate goal. Winning the whole dang thing is. So do you think it's a challenge for the guys in this locker room to you know, to keep reaching for that brass ring, or, you know, do you kind of let off a little bit?
You know, I think especially for some of the younger guys and even the older guys who, you know, haven't been out of this first round of the playoffs or even something like that, you know, it's hard to see the time frame of, you know, the goals that we've set. So it's halfway through the year, you know, we want to win this many games, we want to win the division, we've done that. We need to win the division playoffs now, you've done that. It's a time frame of stuff, and you have to manage it wisely, and I think you just can't be satisfied with getting a temporary goal there.
Right. Well, and that's a great way to not be, as Coach said in weeks past, be complacent or you know, kind of content because you've reached those goals. If you continue to, like you said, pace yourself, so to speak, then you're not playing that up-down kind of peaking too early or whatever. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to playoff hockey and that intensity that it brings. It almost started to feel like that on Saturday night.
For sure.
Have you been involved in your hockey career in some big games? Like, you know, like what are coming up with the playoffs and so on?
Yeah, we've had a few. I mean, there was one I remember specifically. It was my first year in Fargo, and it came down to us in Sioux Falls. Whoever was to get 2 points on the weekend would make the playoffs. So we could either win the first night and make the playoffs, or we could lose in overtime or something like that and win the second night. But anyways, it ended up, you know, going to the last 1 minute of a game, and we ended up to lose and didn't make the playoffs. But, you know, that's just one of the major games that stuck out in my head. Yeah.
Well, and it's something that I, you know, watching a Wild game last night, I hear the announcers talking about how at some level, you know, usually guys have been involved in a big game at some point, so it shouldn't be like a nerves thing necessarily.
Yeah,
you guys are all, you know, like Coach says, pros. So. All right. Well, Brad, again, I won't keep you much longer, but I appreciate you coming on the show, and again, I want to say congratulations on it, because I think we all know how much hard work it takes to be able to, you know, to be out there, you know, for 53 games of the regular season and put the numbers up that you have with, again, 31 goals, 34 assists, and now the all-time franchise points leader, Brad Belisle. So again, thanks for coming on, and congratulations.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
All right. Well, a few talking points here, folks. Friday, March 22nd, here at the Odie versus Minot. The Stutzman Harley-Davidson corporate sponsor is Ray Hybrids. It's Parents Weekend. Skate with the Wings after the game, so come on out. You don't have to necessarily bring your skates. You can come out and get some autographs and talk with the players and so on. Saturday, March 23rd versus Minot. Again, the Stutzman Harley-Davidson corporate sponsor is House of Glass. It's Billet Appreciation Night on Saturday, and the Wings home jersey auction with Val Jark of Jark Worley Auctions following the game. Doors always open for Wings home games at 5:30, and the puck always drops at 7:15. $10 general admission tickets are on sale now at any of the 4C Express locations in Aberdeen with additional purchase. Sunday, March 24th, the Wings will be hosting their third annual awards banquet. Doors will open at 5:30 with dinner at 6. Tickets are $20 for adults, $15 for kids 4 to 12, or a table of 8 for $200, and the Wings glass is provided as well. Visit AberdeenWings.com for more information. Sunday, March 31st from 1 to 4, the Aberdeen Wings will be teaming up with Aspire for Bowling Bash 2019. Form a group of 5, and the 6th person will be from the Wings, and hopefully it's Brad Belisle, because I hear he's the best on the team. Cost is $300. Call Janae at Aspire today at 605-229-0263, extension 1007. And for all the latest news and information, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Once again, Brad Belisle joining me here. Thank you. And folks, that will pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.